Hey folks, this is my guide to writing a home care content using AI, but also making it what we call EEAT. I'm going to show you what that means. EEAT stands for experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. Google looks for this in all of the content that you put online. If you use ChatGPT, Claude, or any of the AI products to write an article and you don't personalize it, localize it, and add some unique properties to that content, Google will look at it, say, okay, but they're not going to index content that is regurgitated from AI. Now, some of it they will, but a lot of times I'm seeing content that is sent to us that I can tell by reading the first sentence is completely written by AI. That content, we can post it all day long, but it's never going to help the client. So what we do is we edit the content. We make sure it has some EEAT properties: experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. So the real rule of thumb for AI content when it comes to your home care website or any senior care website is that yes, you can use AI to write it, but no, you should not copy and paste an article that was written by any AI system and never edit it. You have to edit the content in order to get Google to take notice of it and to help you. And otherwise, you just have to make it interesting. So AI is a great tool, and it's a great tool to learn to use properly. It was never meant to replace all of our content. So what I'm going to show you now is a series of prompts that I use. And again, all the content that you have written by AI has to be edited, and you have to add those EEAT properties in order for Google to take notice of it, like it, and use it as a good resource. So let's start with our first prompt. This is a series of actually 8 prompts. And the first one says this: I want you to research, and we're going to change this. We're going to do Alzheimer's, home care. Let's do one we could probably use in Mesa, Arizona. So I wanted to list the first 5 websites that appear organically. I do not want it to use lead generate. And when I say organically, I mean I don't want it to use anything that's a sponsored link or a Google ad. Do not use lead generating websites like caring.com or aginginplace.com. Only use websites that represent actual home care agencies. Get their headings in text. Now, this does not mean we're copying off of them. It just means that we are looking for content that's going to help us rank just as well as our competitors do. Then you'll provide the best heading structure from my article. Please help me solve this problem step by step. Show me your work. Justify to me that you read the competitor articles by showing which outline came from which competitor. So let's hit go. Okay, here is the output. So it did look at Senior Helpers of Mesa, Visiting Angels, Cole Senior Communities, which shouldn't be in there, Comfort Care, and Comfort Caregivers. So we can see that it took their home care and whatever they could find and used that information. Okay, so now we're going to go to our next prompt. And the next one is really easy. Now let's create a new outline that's even better. Okay, it did that. It created a great outline for me, and it gave me the sources. So now we're going to move on to the next prompt. And that is this one right here. Great work. Now provide this outline with marked up headings and specific instructions that tells my writer what should be included in each section. So really, in this prompt, we could hand this off to a writer and they would know exactly what we wanted. Provide the user with resources on where they can find the information needed. I'm going to add to that. Do not use the home care agency's previously listed as resources. I do not want to use the resource content from these places, but I will use Mayo Clinic, Cleveland Clinic, Alzheimer's Association. These are all just fine. All right, now we have this long outline with instructions, and we're going to go to our next prompt. This one is really long. Use all of this. AI tends to writes what it has learned, right, over the last few years, and it uses the same phrases over and over again. So we have given it some information on what not to do, what not to use. So nice, using that line below. Please write the article. Use an authoritative tone of voice that is equally as conversational to keep the reader engaged and free of unnecessary stress. And I'm going to put my keyword phrases in here. In-home nurse care, Alzheimer's care at home. You don't have to capitalize them. We can even throw in at home Alzheimer's care. And we can even say in-home dementia care, just to mix it up. And we want it to write at a 10th grade reading level. Most people don't even read at that level. And we have all of these words that we don't want it to use. So here we go. That's a pretty long prompt. Okay, so now we've got our article written, and we're going to keep going. So this prompt says, please compare this article to the Google Helpful Content Guidelines, which is EEAT, and offer suggestions on how the content can be improved to meet the guidelines. I'm pretty sure I already know what those are, but we're going to let it do its business. Okay, it gave all of these comparisons and summarized the suggestions for improvement. So now we're going to ask it to take this article and do the following. Rewrite using the suggestions you have provided. We're also going to re-give it those same instructions about the words not to use. Why isn't it copying? And the keyword phrases we do want it to use. So I'm going to put that there, and I'm going to go back up here and grab my keyword phrases that I used originally. Go back down here. Okay. And we're going to hit go. Wow, so it rewrote the entire article, which does need to be edited, and then it gave all these resources for reading. So we are going to edit this even more, but let's see if we have any more. Okay, so we have a few more prompts here. Prompt number 8. Write 7 frequently asked questions in an NLP-friendly manner about topics not covered in this article. So I'm going to put that in there. And it's going to give us some great frequently asked questions. Okay, and what is my last prompt? And I also put in here some other AI prompts to include. This is one that you might want to change around. So I'm asking it to generate real expert quotes on caregiving and senior care. Get them from the internet. First of all, if you don't recognize the name, like Atipa Snow or someone like that, then you need to Google it and make sure it's real, because AI will make things up and it will make up names and that'll sound really good. But we don't want to put fake stuff in our articles. And also, if you ask it the same question every single time you do this, you're going to get the same quotes. So in this case, generate real expert quotes on Alzheimer's, dementia, and family caregiving. Okay, so we'll get a bunch of different quotes here that are specific to this article. Okay, so it quoted Peter Ross, Tia Walker, Kim Campbell, Gail Wetherill, Julie White, Caroline Lee, and it also gave where it came from and Maria Shriver. And so what I would do is if I'm writing this for a home care client, I'm probably not going to use Peter Ross unless they are a senior helpers client, because that would be odd. So we can use these ones that are pretty much generic and not from a specific home care agency. So now we have all the parts and pieces we need to edit this blog post. So when I write this blog post, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this last version of the article that it wrote. I'm going to take some of these are, kind of odd the way it wrote them, so I'm going to change those around. Summary of key points, calls to action. I might intersperse some of these resources throughout the article, add some imagery to the article that is not just a generic stock photo. And then at the bottom, I'm going to add frequently asked questions in an accordion. And I'm going to make sure the schema is turned on for frequently asked questions. And then I am going to intersperse some quotes throughout the article as well. And I'm going to make sure they're formatted as quotes. And that gives me my EEAT. Also, if I have testimonials, if this client has some testimonials, I can intersperse a few of their testimonials throughout the content as well. So, or at least one or two, maybe one at the very end or one in the middle. So I can do that as well. So imagery that's unique and it can be AI generated, and some quotes and some testimonials, and I'm going to make sure that this is SEO'd for Mesa, Arizona. And that is everything I need, minus the editing part, for a really good article that I can post with confidence to my client's website and know that it's unique and that it meets all the criteria for good SEO and all the Google standards. And when Google sees this, it will not de-index this. It's not a penalty necessarily. It just doesn't think it's interesting enough if it doesn't index it. So yeah, we know about it, but it's not in the index right now. So that's something to keep in mind when writing AI content. It's still a lot of work, but if you know the right prompts and you know the right process, you can really create some unique and outstanding content for yourself or for a client. Thanks. Bye.